Hello to all my friends out there in YouTube land. It is your good buddy Philtastic Phil here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our new segment or our new show, Philtastic Reads, in which I give you an in-depth review of one of the books I read this past week. These books, if you're unfamiliar, are picked during my live show, Last Week Today Live, every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Subscribe if you haven't already and set your notifications. That way you always remember when I go live. We usually have a nice discussion right after Breakfast with Brian as part of the Saturday morning spread, which includes Fanboy Prime, Madam, Brian, and myself, not necessarily in that order. If this is the first time you're watching this show, I don't grade on a scale or a numeric system or a thumbs up or a thumbs down, anything like that. I use my own 4-point system here. If your book is great, I'm talking cream of the crop, one of those ones everybody should just go rush and buy. It's a must read. If it's good, good read. Pretty simple, right? If it's just okay, it's meh. And if your book is so bad it's almost criminal, then you're deemed burn after reading. I should say this, if you are going to burn any books, especially after reading them, I hope you're not trying to do it while. That may be challenging in itself. Just make sure you're doing so safely. You don't want to burn down your house just because you read a bad comic. These, of course, are nobody's opinions but my own. You may agree, you may disagree. That's up to you, but isn't that great that we can disagree and still get along? Anyway, today's book I'm reviewing is Ghost Rider number 16. This is from the current volume, and this is the Hellfire Gala variant, drawn by Gerald Perel. Right off the bat, I'll say this. Ghost Rider does not have the best Hellfire Gala outfit, why don't we say, for lack of a better word. But that's okay. I still like the artwork. I just kind of feel like he's like, let me throw on shades and a tie and I'll be all good. The story's much deeper than the cover, so let's go ahead and get into this. I should mention, I have not read Ghost Rider regularly in quite some time. The writer, I could say, Ben Percy, is doing a phenomenal job on X-Force and Wolverine, 2 titles I am reading regularly. So I kind of have high expectations here. I did read an issue, I don't know the number offhand, earlier in the series. It had a great Peach Momoko cover, and I thought it was a good read. So hopeful that this one actually kept in pace with that. I should mention the art is by Chris Campagna, who is no stranger to comic book art whatsoever. He did write a very personal series, why don't we say, that I think it's worth checking out. If you have children, you might not want to do it. If you know anything about Chris Campagna's history, you might know what I'm talking about. Nonetheless, his artwork is solid in this book. This story is very much building. I guess you could say this is a great jumping on point, and this is a prelude into the current Ghost Rider and Wolverine run that I think just wrapped up this past week. One of the things I really like about this book is that the writer has figured out a way to tie tie 3 of the Ghost Riders in like we haven't seen quite before. Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, and Robbie Reyes. Which it's good because it could be whoever your preferred Ghost Rider may be. They're somehow involved in this. But the focus of the series is the current Ghost Rider, I should say, who is Johnny Blaze. This particular story does take place, I don't want to say simultaneously, but it takes place in 3 different time periods when each Ghost Rider is confronted by this mysterious cloaked figure whom they offer a ride to, only to be met with, not quite certain doom, but let's say not a great experience. It leaves them all faceless and powerless. If you want to really know what I'm talking about, you got to read the book. One thing I felt was a little bit off, but Ben Percy really makes it work, is when this character, he goes by the name of Father Pike, approaches the FBI and explains that he's been approached by Orcus. If you don't know who Orcus is, they're pretty much the main villainous, I guess you could say, organization behind the destruction of the X-Men. And if you've read the Hellfire Gala, then you know what I'm talking about. He kind of explains that he turned Orcus down because he's seeking to form almost his own kind of Weapon Plus program, which, again, if you're into Wolverine or if you're into the Avengers, you know that that's basically the Weapon X program that gave Wolverine his claws, Captain America his powers, and a couple other characters, at least that they told us since then. And then he presents it and he says something, I'll read it exactly. This won't cost you anything except sponsorship, tax shelter, and absolute immunity. A new Weapon Plus program, Project Hellfire. So it's like, okay, it kind of sounds a little cheesy that you're kind of tying it into the Hellfire Gala. I'm going to reserve my judgment, though, for the Wolverine Ghost Rider series itself, which this is a direct lead into. All in all, this was a good book. I thought the writing was solid. I liked the interplay of the three different Ghost Riders between each other. The Father Pike, I don't know too much about. Like I said, could come off a little bit cheesy, but I have a feeling that they're going to sell it well enough to us. So again, all in all, I grant this a good read. Whether you are a classic fan of Ghost Rider or somebody like me who is sort of familiar with him but hasn't done a whole lot of Ghost Rider reading, or heck, even if you're brand new to the character, this is a good jumping on point for the upcoming Ghost Rider Wolverine crossover, which I'm now going to get, yes, because I read that and because I am reading the Wolverine series. But tell me what you think. Did you read this issue and do you agree with me? Make sure that you tune in this Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, for Last Week Today Live, and you'll see what book I'm going to review next. And you may even have a shot of winning a book of your own. Speaking of winning something on your own, you may or may not be aware that we're kind of in the middle of our 300 subscriber giveaway, or at least how to qualify for it. I'm going to put a link to one of my past Last Week Todays so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you who know what we're talking about and is looking to crack the password, this is your clue. Remember, if you have missed any of our other clues, I encourage you to go back into my old videos over the last couple weeks and take a look because you're going to need them. With that, thanks again for checking this out. I do appreciate you looking at my channel today. Peace, love, and comics. Take care.